Peace through Mother Earth. I am Stephanie Lindloff, eco-intuitive coach and teacher, and I help women who are busy, anxious moms and professionals in reclaiming peace through simple moments with nature. I'm so glad to be here with you today. Thanks for joining. Today, I am going to be speaking to my passion for native plants and native gardening. If you've been following me, you know that that is something that I teach a lot about and how healing working with native plants can be. Today, I want to share a little bit more about how it has really made a huge difference in my life. And I believe that the stories that I'm going to be sharing with you today will resonate with a lot of you because the ways that native gardening has helped me specifically in parenting our son, who is 6 and is on the autism spectrum. Working with native plants, gardening with native plants has provided so many lessons and so much ancient healing wisdom that is directly relevant to how we go about our days. And so I thought that this would be a good thing to share because I think it can be translated to a variety of different circumstances that you may be facing in your life. So as you listen to the 3 ways, I'm going to share 3 ways that native gardening has supported me in being a parent that can parent with peace, especially for our special needs son. I also wanted to invite you that if this resonates for you and if you would like to have a beautiful garden of native plants yourself, my online course is going to be opening for enrollment soon, and you can learn more about it by going to my website at ournaturalwisdom.com and clicking on Work With Me. There you will see the link for Reclaim Your Peace, my gardening class. You can click there to get on the wait list, which will ensure that you're notified as soon as the course opens for enrollment. And the course will be held in April, just in time for you to create your beautiful garden of native plants. This is a gardening class like none other. It's focused not only on how to envision, create, and nurture your garden of native flowers, but also to heal yourself in the process through cultivating your eco-intuition through gardening. So fun. I would love to have you join the class with us. I will also provide a link down below if you are interested in learning more. So without further ado, let's get to it. So I have 3 gifts, I will say, that native gardening has given me with respect to my parenting and particularly for parenting a special needs child. As I said earlier, my son is 6 and he is on the autism spectrum. He has more like Asperger's type autism. And his challenges have been behavioral in nature. A lot of very aggressive responses, difficulty with transitions, rigidity, and just generally he really has struggled with, doing things that aren't his preference. And this has caused us to experience a lot of difficulty in our lives and in his life, in his young life. And yet we have been doing so much work and it is really paying off. And so part of what I wanted to share was, speaking to that. But the first gift that native gardening has given me with respect to my parenting of our son is aim to be present rather than perfect. This is got to be like a universal lesson, right? That we can benefit from in so many ways. But with respect to parenting a special needs child, My son in particular, at the beginning of, you know, our lives together when he was 2 and 3, really trying to get an understanding of how he viewed the world. And he also has sensory integration challenges. So I'll admit at the beginning, it was very frustrating to me because I could get myself very caught up in how it looked, especially if we were out in public, in a public place. If he had a meltdown or if he was really struggling with something, if I needed to, in some cases, physically restrain him to keep him and myself and others safe. And when I say restrain, I mean just giving him a nice big hug and, walking out of the. And for a long time, I really struggled with how this appeared, what this looked like to the world. Well, when I did that, when I was worrying about how it appeared, I was taking myself away from experiencing what was happening in the present. And most importantly, how could I be of most value to my son in the present moment? So when I recognized that it's okay if things don't look pretty and perfect. It's okay if somebody questions my parenting methods. It's okay if somebody looks at my child and thinks he's naughty or he is, really just not parented well or whatnot. The more I came into the importance, the power of being present with him, the more I was able to see that I could provide him what he most needed. Could support him so much more effectively and support him in a short amount of time so much more effectively. So that tremendous value was being provided to him in that short time because I was present. And this is the same thing that I have learned from our native gardens. Native gardens, in some people's eyes, might look messy. They might look like they're not, quote, normal. They're not conventional. They're not traditional. They don't, you know, check off all of the boxes that so many people think a garden and a yard should look like. And yet, within that complexity, there is tremendous value for nature, tremendous value for us, because having a native garden amplifies the life force energy that is in your area, that is upon the land that you inhabit. And getting more in tune with that really brings us into the present and to the value that is being provided in the present moment, rather than achieving some sort of, perfect look that is most agreeable to other people. And I think that that is one of the biggest things that people that are interested in learning to native garden need to come to terms with, that this is about being present and about the tremendous healing value to you and to Mother Earth, rather than seeking to achieve something that looks shiny and, neat and tidy on the outside, but is really providing minimal value on the inside. Same with what I am learning from my son and from our gardens, that we should always aim to be present. You provide the greatest value to others and to yourself, the greatest support when you are focused on being present rather than perfect. Could go on and on about that one. That's a big one, right? All right, the second gift, the second thing that I have especially learned from our native gardens is another simple one: to appreciate the little things every single day. This is, in keeping with so many gratitude practices. And I feel like this is especially important with a special needs child because it can be overwhelming. All of the things that we have to juggle and that we are, need to adapt to and that we have to deal with and shift and be responsive to and be aware of, it really can be very overwhelming. It's sometimes very difficult to relax and to stay, to come into the present moment. Now, when we seek out the little things, the beautiful little things that we can celebrate every single day, that makes a world of difference in how we approach our lives with our loved ones and how we approach our inner world as well. So, for instance, with my son, you know, we have been through now several years of therapies. We identified his autism early on, so we were able to engage in early intervention, which has been a blessing. And so, you know, there's a lot that needs to be done, as I said, and will continue to be done. But I find such peace and gratitude and joy in appreciating the little things that he can now do, like transition from being in the house to going to school without having a massive meltdown. That is huge. Appreciating the fact that he will willingly pick up some some crayons and do some coloring. That is a huge celebration for us. Appreciating that he will occasionally try a new food that has a different texture, a reason for celebration. These things might seem little, but they're not. They're big things and they deserve to be celebrated and acknowledged. Same with our gardens. When we take the time to connect with our gardens, to connect with nature, and to see the little things that draw your awareness, that draw your attention because they're so beautiful, like how the dew collects on leaves or how the frost collects within the cups of spent flowers, or melting icicles, or watching the goldfinches harvest seed from the dried seed heads of the coneflower in our garden. All of these things they may seem little, but they are not insignificant. They have meaning and they bring us peace and they bring us back to the beauty that is within the present moment. So I encourage you to seek out the little things each and every day that are a cause for celebration in your life and in the world around you. And the last gift that I will share with you today is to celebrate progress over time and while you are staying in the present moment. This is that's kind of a long one. I'm not quite sure how to shorten it, but I think that this is certainly very linked to celebrating the little things, as I had previously mentioned, but to take it to a larger level, to allow yourself that I allow myself to see the progress over time, to appreciate how things have changed, what a difference all of these actions have made in my son's life and in our lives. And recognizing that we're still journeying through a lot and we have a lot ahead of us still, but that's okay. And knowing that some of the approaches that we will use in the future may not click, and that's okay, because we are on a continuous journey and we are learning as we go. And we can see those improvements in our lives as a result of all of those little steps, those little actions day by day, hour by hour that we have taken to support our son. I feel like it's particularly important while we're celebrating the progress that's been made to be mindful of not projecting out into the future too far, to not preoccupy ourselves with, wow, look at how much progress we've made in the past 6 months, and then imagine where we're going to be 6 months from now. I have learned that that is just not helpful, because then I start projecting myself into the future, and that's where my anxieties live. That's where I start getting myself really wrapped up and into the future, into striving, into accomplishing and achieving, and I forget to remain present. So, yet again, our native gardens have so many beautiful lessons and words of wisdom for us about this, because there is, when you begin to transition your garden or create a new garden that is a native garden, initially you'll be seeing those little steps, right? The little transformations, the little achievements. And soon enough, with even within a couple of growing seasons and certainly within a year, you will see this amazing transformation. And it will be just so heartening and affirming and really help you understand what is possible if you continue the journey forward. One of the things that I have really come to appreciate is how much life we have restored to the land that we inhabit. There is just so much more activity, so many more birds and different animals, mammals, insects, so amphibians and reptiles, so many entities, so many beings, so many spirits and souls that are benefiting from the fact that we have transitioned a conventional garden to a native garden. And another thing that I love so much is that a lot of native plants will easily self-seed. So from on a year-to-year basis, we can see plants popping up throughout our garden that we did not plant in a particular place. And this is just such a beautiful sign of the progress and the interweaving of life that happens within a native garden, just as within our own lives, as we are, in our parenting relationships, in our other relationships, there is this constant web of life that is being created. And when we appreciate the progress that we have made and what we have achieved in our actions that we have taken, we can stay present in our celebration of that and continue to focus on the step by step that will move us forward, focusing within the present rather than projecting out ahead into the future. Kind of like, when you go on a few dates with somebody new. This has been a long time for me, but maybe for you, going on a few dates with somebody new, and then all of a sudden starting to project out, oh, and then what if we get married in a year, and then we'll do this, and then we'll have 3 children. And I used to do that all the time when I was younger, and it really just sucks the joy out of the present moment, and it focuses you in striving for something far into the future, or maybe not that far, but at least it is in the future that, it may come to pass, it may not, but overly focusing on what you're seeking to achieve in the future will often take you out of the joy of being in the present moment and acknowledging all of the amazing progress that you have made within this period of time and acknowledging that in the present. And then, of course, at the end of all of this is the gratitude, right? Gratitude is woven into all of these learnings, these lessons that we are receiving from native gardens and that I am sharing with you today. So when we remain present with gratitude for what we are appreciating and celebrating in the moment, it is just a powerful place to be. It is so deeply healing for us on every level, physically, mental, emotionally, spiritually, and it really makes a huge difference in our lives to always come back to the present, always come back to your deep inner knowing of the power of your presence and of the wisdom that you can draw upon when you remain in the present moment. And there's really no better way to remain in the present moment than to connect deeply with nature. I just to review them, the first gift that I shared was aim for presence, not perfection. The second gift, appreciate the little things each day. And the third gift is to celebrate progress over time while remaining in the present moment. I hope that you enjoyed the little teaching today. It's always such a joy to share these learnings with you that I have received from nature. And if you are interested in learning more about my online course, Reclaim Your Peace Through Gardening, then all you have to do is click the link down below in the description to learn a bit more and get yourself on that wait list. So when enrollment opens, you are ready to go. It would be such a joy to lead that course with you in the room, in the virtual room. You can go to ournaturalwisdom.com and then click on Work with Me for a link to the waitlist, or you could click the link down below. Thanks again. I will see you again next Tuesday at 2 here on YouTube Live. Have a beautiful week. Bye-bye.